What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to Grimm. Today we're meeting with the biggest wannabe thug that I have ever seen on Dr. Phil's show. Keep watching until the end because they even try to have an onstage intervention with this kid pretty much. Like, that's just how insane his life has gotten. And trust me, by seeing him, you don't expect how bad his crimes are, but they're pretty insane. Anyways, without further ado, let's just meet him, shall we?
And you've burglarized 5 or 6 houses?
Yes, sir.
And
What the hell are you thinking?
He knew about the last house because he read text and woke me up and said, "County's on the way to pick you up."
See what I mean? You probably saw his little baby face and, didn't think too much of it. But nah, this kid just admitted to burglarizing 5 different houses. He's actually about it, which is scary and sad. I'm not saying that like he's cool for doing that stuff, obviously. This kid looks like he should be streaming Fortnite or something, not running up in people's houses and stealing all their possessions. It only gets crazier too. Like, this kid is actually getting in massive trouble, and I just don't understand why. Like, he seems like a normal dude with 2 parents that love him and want the best for him. Instead, he's trying to play GTA RP in real life, apparently.
Last week when I read that message, that's when I found that. But 5 or 6 houses, people, you know what I think of thieves, you know it.
Yo, and I feel for this dad right now. Imagine trying your best to raise a good kid, and you might think he's getting into the average teenage stuff. Like, yeah, there should be some times where, kids are running around messing up and they don't quite realize their mistakes. Everyone goes through that rebellious phase in one stage or another in their life. But actually coming to find out that your kid is out there committing super serious crimes that could land him in jail, yeah, that's scary, bruh, and I would be asking myself where I went wrong. I just can't get over how much this kid truly just does not look the part of any of this stuff that they are talking about right now. If he pulled up to my house and tried to rob me, I'd probably just laugh. Like, he just seems like the polar opposite of what you would expect a home robber to look like.
how long have you been doing this?
Most of it happened while I was on the run for the past week or 2.
He's ran away twice. All of this has been
In the last 2 weeks?
Last 3 weeks. He was gone a week and then he was home for the 4 or 5 days at his aunt's.
Wow, so this kid is straight up on the run, apparently. The more I hear about what he's been getting up to in the past couple months, just the more I'm confused, honestly. This seems like a middle-class family for sure. Like, I doubt that he has had that much of a struggle or needs to be out there doing this stuff, His parents are probably able to give him a pretty standard life. I'm not saying everything's perfect and that he can't do crime because of that, but it's just like he's not having to go out and steal this stuff to put food on his plate. But, of course, I can't judge because, everyone's life is different, and it's not what it seems sometimes. Especially, I can't accurately see how this kid's family life is with just a couple minutes of Dr. Phil footage. But seriously, it's so strange that he would choose this path. I feel like he should be out here playing lacrosse or something, like not breaking and entering into random houses in the middle of the night.
And you didn't do this alone, you did it with others?
Yeah, the 2 kids that I were with just got, they just bonded out, but they just got booked on 2 burglary charges for a different house.
Yikes, so the people this kid's been running around with just got arrested. Buddy, how was that not a wake-up call? I get that you might want to be immature and just living fast and oh, I don't care. Screw the rules, man, I hate my parents and all that stuff. But when you see people that you're associating with getting into massive trouble for this stuff, doesn't that scare you? I'd be terrified if I got called into the office for some dumb stuff me and my friends did in middle school, and that would be enough to stop me from making those bad choices. Ugh, this kid must just not have a single care in the world, or I guess I probably just wouldn't be cut out for that lifestyle, but I guess that's a good thing. I'm really not supposed to be out here breaking the law, besides jaywalking, I am kind of a bad boy sometimes. Anyways.
Do you realize that you've just confessed to 5 or 6 home burglaries on videotape on national television, and you set the time frame and the location?
Got him. Wow, this kid is just got finessed by Dr. Phil here. That was straight out of a movie too. Like, you can see him start to panic a bit as Dr. Phil is explaining what he just did. Turns out this kid that turned to robbing people isn't all that bright after all. Who would have thought? Seriously though, my dude, you gotta start thinking about this stuff. I know you probably got dragged onto this show against your will because your parents are scared for you and you didn't want to come on this interview, but if you keep Tekashi 6ix9ing all your crimes on television, you might get caught up in some trouble when your friends find out. That's all I'm gonna say.
Abby, thank you for joining us.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. He stole your car.
Correct, yes sir. He stole my minivan.
Wow, this kid is actually insane, dude. So Dr. Phil has to polycom his aunt real quick and get her side of the story. And basically, this kid ran away last week and stole her minivan, as well as went on a massive crime spree with his friends while using this van, so that's pretty cool of him, you know, no sarcasm there. I don't get why he would pick his aunt's minivan for his crime mobile, but maybe he just saw an opportunity and took the keys and ran with it. I really don't know. Like I said, I don't think this kid is all that good at thinking before he acts, so I'm pretty sure his childish impulse side of his brain just rules all of his decision making.
Like, I have 3 children that require car seats, and Dawson or his friends could not figure out how to get the latch system. So instead of cutting it, they decided to burn it.
This kid and his friends. I can't even say this sentence. They were too stupid to figure out how to get a car seat out of this minivan. A child's car seat. So they straight up just burned the seatbelts to get it off. I don't know what's in the water in whatever town he grew up in, or if it's just the most ragtag group of morons ever, but seriously, I don't think I've ever heard of such stupidity. How is that even a thing, you guys?
What gives you the right to do that? What gives you the right? You said you were driving 110 miles an hour. You're so proud of it, you take pictures of the dashboard and post it on social media to show people how fast you're driving.
Alright, I joked before, but I actually think this kid was sitting here bored at his home one day, playing GTA 5, and thought to himself, wow, I can go out and do whatever my online character does, and that would be way cooler in real life. Which is obviously not the truth, but this sounds like something that Michael's stupid son would do in the campaign of that game. Like, who steals their aunt's minivan, drives around at 110 miles per hour somehow? Side note, that minivan is pretty quick. Shout out to the aunt for driving such a beast whip, you know? And then he and his friends drive around and steal stuff from people's houses when they're bored. Normal people don't just go on crime sprees like that, dude. You gotta chill, please. I don't think you understand how the world works at all yet, and you might mess around and get yourself locked up before you get a chance to even live your own life. Yikes, bro.
The Tesla was severed in half and the front caught on fire. That's because somebody was being cool.
And even with this crazy evidence of why he shouldn't be such a moron, I guarantee this kid's just gonna write it off like, well, that dude didn't know how to drive. I obviously would never crash my aunt's minivan. I'm pretty much like an F1 driver in that thing. Have you seen my Snapchat stories? Hey, you guys made it pretty far into this video. So real quick, I'm gonna ask you to like the video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell in the next 5 seconds. And if you can do all of that quick enough, you will get the power of flight. All you have to do to achieve this power is jump, and you will fly for at least 1/10 of a second. That's seriously so cool. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility, or some other crap like that. So yeah, be smart about it when you use it. Anyways, on with the rest of the video. Yo, but for real, wow, Dr. Phil's getting heavy on this episode, man. You gotta kind of pull all the stops when it comes to reckless people like this kid. You know, you gotta try to search for a way to get through to them, because clearly just reprimanding him like his parents have been doing for years just makes him spiral further out of control and do even worse things, which it's amping up pretty quickly right now, and he could be facing some jail time if this continues. So what does Dr. Phil do? He invites an older guest on to talk with him, and she's been in the crowd this whole time. Apparently, she got hit by someone going like 130 miles per hour or something insane like this kid was doing in his aunt's minivan, and she wasn't even thought to have lived through the crash initially, but thankfully she made it out, and sadly she is now wheelchair bound for the rest of her life. And she straight up asks this kid if he would still be acting like this if he understood the full gravity of the situation and the fact that he could easily take someone else's life by accident or even his own. Like, that's a big statement right there. Most kids think that they are invincible, when in reality, teenagers are pretty much the most vulnerable humans ever. Like, you can do so many things to just absolutely ruin your life as a kid. You need to really value the pros and cons of what you're doing. And I'm sounding preachy here, but I don't think this kid ever sat down and actually thought of how stupid it was for him to have stolen this van and driven it at its max speed while flexing on Snapchat. Look, a couple of swipe up reactions on your story from friends with laughing emojis is not worth you endangering yourself and, more importantly, other random innocent people on the road.
You said, I know what I'm doing. What is that?
I just mean, like, they think every time I go outside, there's a chance of me getting or in trouble when it's not.
I pretty much just like doing the most dangerous illegal stuff ever because I'm like so bored with my life and it's just exciting to me, you know? Really though, I can't believe how ignorant and just downright dumb this kid is being about this whole situation. Like I said, there are people out there that might grow up in a certain environment where, you know, they're brought up into a certain lifestyle and feel like they have no choice but to do these things. But from what they showed and talked about in the intro cinematics for this kid, it really seems like he's had the most normal life ever and has had a lot of blessings that he's just kind of thrown away. Apparently he used to be a pretty preppy kid at his school, and then all of a sudden wanted to act all fake gangster and live this life of crime. And to prove that point even further, Dr. Phil has another guest come out, and it's this dude that was in a gang at one point, and he's actually lived a life way tougher than this kid, and even that guy is pleading with this moron like, why would you ever think any of this stuff is cool or actually want to get involved in any of this? Like, just get out of it while you can. All that I know is it may be fun and entertaining in a movie or video game, or to even listen to lyrics about this stuff, but don't be out here stealing stuff and doing these hood rat things with your friends, guys. It's just not worth it. And if he goes to juvie, he's not going to be at the top of the totem pole with that face and demeanor. I can tell you that much. Seriously, this kid needs to change his life for the better. But anyways, that about does it for today's video. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Until then, peace out.